Hello D&D people of the internet, it is me, Max from Maximus Miniature, back with another video, and in today's video, we're going over support classes in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Now, every single support class is a caster, to some degree at least. Some of them are less than others. Now, how do I explain this? While a support class is a caster, most of its abilities and a lot of its spells are centered around healing and buffing your friends, while also debuffing your enemies. So, with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. Hey y'all, I'm Arnold the Artificer, and I'm here to tell you why Artificers are so cool. Artificers are the mad tinkerers of Dungeons & Dragons. We make stuff. These are weird little goggles that I made, and this is something I made just before I got on camera here. I'll talk about it in a minute. Our hit die is a D8, meaning we aren't pathetic, but at the same time we don't have a ton of HP. Our main ability is Infuse Item. Infusing items is putting magical properties on different items using inventions. This was a crossbow, but I infused it with magical energy, and now instead of shooting crossbow bolts, it shoots little laser beams, which is really cool. Oh, and since I didn't need the whole pull back cocking action, I removed the little side thingies, so now it doesn't look weird anymore, and it's kind of sleek. I like the design. It's really fun to shoot. I'll probably name it something that rhymes with fun. The capstone ability is Soul of the Artifice. Pretty much, it means that we get a plus to all our ability scores. Not ability scores, but like when we roll a check, we get to add a number to that equal to the number of items that we're attuned to. Magical items, that is. And at that point, we can attune to 6 rather than the normal max of 3, because Artificers are cool like that. Oh, and also, if we drop to 0 HP points, we can end one of our infusions. So let's say I were to die right now. I'm okay! I just made this thing stop shooting laser bolts now. And now I'm fine. I went back to 1 HP point. That's how Soul of the Artifice works. Next up is our subclasses. Alchemists are cool because you see, with being an alchemist, you just make a bunch of potions and you can give them to your friends to heal them. You can chug them to give yourself special abilities. Alchemists are really neat. The armorer has armor. You get power armor, you get magic armor, and you can either choose to have laser beams that shoot out your armor and be fast, or you can choose to be a tank that punches really well. Then there's the artillerist. The artillerist is neat. I'm an artillerist because you make a cannon. I don't have my cannon on me right now, but you just make cannons. That's what you do. Then we got the battlesmith. The battlesmith picks up a big heavy hammer and a dog, and they do battlesmith things. And that's the artificer. Depending on your subclass, along with what infusions you have, you can be a frontline fighter, or you can be a back person that's helping people by healing them, or you can be a spell slinger, because we have spells. We are what's known as a half caster though, where instead of reaching all the way to 9th level spells, we only get 5th level spells, which is neat. It's still nice. We still get 5th level. So that's the Artificer. I definitely recommend it if you want to be a madcap and scientist. Oh, why hello there. I am Braxton and I am a bard. Bards are brilliant musicians and artists who use their art forms to perform and cast magic. Bards are often portrayed as musical instrument players, such as I with this beautiful drum here. But we are much more than that. You can dance, you can sing, you can paint. With the enemy's blood, of course. Now, as a bard, you have a D8 hit die. Not a ton, but a nice amount. Your main ability is Bardic Inspiration, which allows us to give an extra dice to one of our allies, in which they can add to one of their rolls to give themselves a little boost of power. Our capstone ability is Superior Inspiration, similar to how monks can regain ki upon rolling initiative and not having any. If we don't have any Bardic Inspiration to give to people, then when we roll initiative, we gain 1. It's a nice ability. Nothing crazy, nothing weak. It's nice. Our subclasses are Lore Bards. Lore Bards study and read and gain spells from other classes. Valor bards are bards who pick up a weapon and don some armor and sing mighty war songs, hitting war drums as they enter battle. Glamour bards are bards who were taught by fey creatures and as such captivate their audiences with their charms. Sword bards are similar to valor bards, but they specialize in scimitars, or scimitars, and as such, they gain a fighting style, whereas valor bards do not. Whisper bards sneak around in the shadows and use deceit and lies to gain the advantage in battle. Eloquence bards speak to entire groups of people, and as such can inspire more than just one at a time, and use their charismatic presences to speak beyond words. And as I am saying that, I realize this sounds very cliche. Creation bards are bards who animate objects and see the cosmos as an intricate piece of artwork and use that artwork to their will. Bards are brilliant. Whatever subclass you choose, or however you choose to use your bardic inspiration, determines what you want to be. You can be a frontline fighter. You can be a support class. We are designed mostly to be support because our main ability gives our friends extra points. So, whatever you see fit, all you need to know is that you are a brilliant artist and you always will be one. Hello there, my name is Calvin, and I am a cleric. Clerics are warrior priests who serve a god and as such are given magical powers blessed to them by their gods. Our hit die is a d8. Enough, but not a ton. Just like the other support classes. Our main ability is Channel Divinity, which gives us the ability to channel the divine powers of our different deities to do certain things such as scare away undead monsters. Our capstone ability is Divine Intervention. We gain the ability at level 10 in which we can pray to our gods, and on an off chance, our gods will decide, you know what, we're going to help you, and they'll swoop in to save us. But at level 20, we are guaranteed for it to happen, as we have become one of the higher ranking servants of our deity. There are the different subclasses of our gods, and as such, there are a lot of them, because there are a lot of gods. Now, each subclass has multiple different gods in it. For example, the War God subclass can contain gods such as Athena and Ares, as they are both war gods. But, statistically speaking, choosing one or the other will not change what the game actually does. Knowledge is for gods that are knowledgeable. Life are gods that control life. Light are gods that control light, like sun gods. Nature are gods who control the bounty of nature. Tempest are gods who control the skies and the seas. Trickery are gods who are tricksters. War are war gods, gods who are deities of battle. Death are death gods, gods who control the afterlife. Arcana are gods of magic who study the arcane arts. Forge, gods of creation who build items and such. You are particularly skilled in making armor as a forge god, as a forge cleric. Gods of the grave are, again, gods of the afterlife, but more of gods of resurrection. Order, gods of strict power and following through with your guidelines. Law gods and the like. Peace gods, gods who wish for pacifism. Foolish, in my opinion. War's the only path. And twilight, gods of darkness and night. As a cleric, you are normally the designated healer, but you do not, under any means, need to fall under that stereotype. Me, with my mighty great club and shield, charge onto the battlefield, crushing in skulls of undead monstrosities, while periodically healing the foolish barbarians who decide to go into a 1v20 encounter. Clerics overall are a great class for people to play, and I would somewhat recommend them for new players. But they are somewhat tricky due to the fact that they do have spells. Hello, children of the earth. I am Darwin, and I am a druid. Druids are warriors of Mother Nature, priests of the planet. We are the soldiers that stand between the ever-encroaching civilization and the wilds. Our hit die is a D8, enough to keep us moving, but not nearly as pathetic as the wizard and sorcerer. Our main ability is Wild Shape, which gives us the ability to transform into an animal that we have seen, specifically having to be a beast. And while that may sound limited, there are some upsides. Yes, you may not be able to turn into your owl bear, but you can turn into a normal owl or a normal bear. Oh, and not to mention, dinosaurs are beasts, so you can turn into a dinosaur. There are dinosaurs in Dungeons and Dragons. Our capstone ability is Archdruid. Archdruid is insanely powerful and easily makes Druid one of the greatest classes in the game. Why is that, may you ask? Well, because Archdruid allows us to wild shape as much as we like. No limit. Normally, we can only wild shape twice per long rest. But with Archdruid, we can do it whenever we want. Now, why is that good? Because when you wild shape, you assume the other creature's form. And when you die in that form, you just turn back into your original form, with your hit points still intact. Let's say you started with 80. You turn into a bear with 100. You fight, your bear with 100 drops to 0. Well, you transform back into your druid with 80. And then you just transform back into a bear again. With Archdruid, you can't just do that only twice. You can do it as many times as you like. Then there are the Druid subclasses. Druid, Circle of the Land, allows us to be in tune with the world around us, particularly where we train to be a Druid. Something nice is we get signature spells based on what area we trained in. Circle of the Moon takes Wild Shape to the next level, making our transformations more powerful and eventually being able to turn into elementals. Circle of Dreams gives you a pool of hit points you can re-heal people with, and siphons power off of the Feywild in order to heal their friends. Circle of the Shepherd allows us to summon pets in swarms, lots of them. Similar to a necromancer, but instead of zombies, you're summoning razor-toothed squirrels. Next up is Circle of Spores. Spores druids recognize the balance of life and death and take advantage of it. And by spending one of their wild shapes, they can turn in. They don't turn into anything. They summon things, particularly a cloud of spores, mushroom spores to be exact. Lots of them. And they can use them as weapons, they can set traps with them, and eventually they can even raise corpses with them. Circle of Stars studies the constellations, and using their knowledge of stars, are able to siphon their powers from the celestial bodies. And finally, Circle of Wildfire is a being who has studied the elemental plane of fire to the point where they can summon themselves a little fire demon at the constable wild shape, which gives them increased fire powers, like making fires burst out of dead things, and anyone that steps in them either gets burned or healed. Amazing and intricate. Well built subclass. I like the Wildfire. The Druids can be whatever you need them to be. You can have a healer. You can have an upfront fighter. You can have a summoner. You can have a AoE. You can be whatever you need with a Druid. And their capstone is absolutely broken if you're playing a full level 1 through 20 campaign. So, that was my guide to support classes in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. As always, if you enjoyed, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing with a couple of friends, and commenting what you want to see in the future. This has been Max from Maximus Miniature. Thanks for watching, I'll see you guys in the next video.